Zombies!
I think he's more scared of being around us. Look, he's not even trying to look at us. He's like, get me away from them. Anyway, I'm Phil.
I'm Dave.
And this is Filling In Walking Dead Vlogs. Yeah, we haven't done Walking Dead Vlog in a while. We've both been busy with work and stuff. So we're going to try to cram in the past 3 episodes. The episode when Bob died.
Tainted meat.
The episode with Beth. And the episode when Eugene says it's all bullshit. So let's start with, the episode with Bob. So, okay, they start off, Gareth is being all casual and everything with Bob, telling him how the situation is and what it's going to be like for the human race and everything. But then Bob is just laughing. First he's crying, and then he's laughing at them about how stupid they are. And then he reveals that he was bitten on the shoulder and that they were eating tainted meat this whole time.
That was funny. Quite
hilarious. And that also takes, it also comes from a moment in the comics. Like I said, Dale was the one who got bitten in the shoulder and he wandered off to die, and then they ate his leg. But, see, in both situations, despite the differences, the one thing I'm wondering, if a zombie bites a person and a person eats that person, are they really tainted meat? Or is it just...
I don't know.
I mean, it makes you wonder, though. I mean, not
if
too...
they were really going to be turned into zombies by eating somebody that got bit by something. That's a good question.
It does make you wonder, but still, it's good to... It is funny to see the hunters being like, oh shit, we were so confident before, but holy crap, we have the chances of becoming infected and turning into walkers because we ate someone who's about to turn into a walker. But... And everyone, and pretty much everyone, especially Sasha, is all in a panic saying, oh, where's Bob? Where's Daryl and Carol? But more importantly, where's Bob? And of course, who's the usual suspect? Father Gabriel. And Father Gabriel reveals that the reason why I'm the way I am is because I locked every one of my congregation out. And I've been waiting for the day that someone will come around and kill me. And despite the fact you wouldn't want to give a shit about his pity party, at the same time you kind of do. You kind of feel sorry for the guy because he's a priest and he's supposed to live up to certain ideals or to follow certain ideals, but then he gave in to his basic human nature.
Right.
And that's the worst sin that he could do as a priest and as a person.
So he probably felt bad for it, but I guess in a way he just did what he had to do. And
then lo and behold, Bob shows up because the hunters are done with him. And Bob is incredibly weak because he's infected and tired and everything, and everyone wants to go after the hunters, and they do, but sorry, that was my phone. Anyway, and everyone wants to go after the hunters, and again, they do, but then the hunters show up at the church, and I'm like, wait, why would they want to go back? I mean, maybe, I guess they want to finish them off. I mean, they're saying that it's not personal, that what they were doing is not personal. Okay, they're kind of making it seem like it's personal, though, right?
Right.
I mean...
I don't know. Sometimes The Walking Dead doesn't make sense at times.
It does.
I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
I mean, it's zombie apocalypse fiction, so really, what can you expect? And again, this also, and of course, the hunters. Oh, do they get their shit handed to them? Because lo and behold, they weren't really going after them; they were baiting them into a trap.
Right.
And again, this also is similar to another moment from the comics when they slaughter them, although. In the comics, they don't exactly show what they're doing to the hunters as they're killing them. They just show brief, momentary glimpses. In the show, you're seeing it happen, but here's the thing, and I hate that I'm saying this, but it's not quite as shocking as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's a bit toned down. I mean, I understand it's a mature show, there's blood and gore and everything. Though, of course, they can't swear, they can't drop the F-bomb or anything. but it just
But Rick did live up to his promise, though.
yeah, he killed him with a machete to the head. That was pretty gruesome. Probably the most shocking thing was that that it happened in a church.
Yeah.
But see, there's been more shocking moments that have happened in Walking Dead and other horror stuff. So really, doing all that in a church isn't the most shocking thing that can be done.
Right. Well, if you figure what Father Gabriel did in the church, really, because I thought at one point somebody said it wasn't really a church anymore.
Yeah, Maggie said that it was 4 walls and a roof.
Right. So really,
it's kind of funny that
sort of kind of it.
It's kind of funny that it comes from Maggie because Herschel was the most spiritual of the group, and you think that would have kind of rubbed off on Maggie and Beth a bit, right?
Right.
But not exactly. I mean, well, then again, Maggie has butt heads with Herschel in the past before, especially on spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Like in season 2 when she was talking with Herschel about letting the group stay at the farm and everything, and they were throwing Bible quotes at each other. But really, I wouldn't say that her saying that isn't just really insulting the church. I think that's just really saying what everything that we used to hold up, that humanity used to put up on pedestals, they've all been brought down because of this whole zombie apocalypse. And that's basically it. And then, of course, Bob died.
Tyrese
had to do it. I mean,
indeed. Well, Sasha was going to do it,
but she couldn't bring herself to do it. And see, and again, this also brings another moment from the comic with Dale, but it was Andrea that did it. And see, that kind of makes me think how much more badass the comic Andrea was than TV show Andrea. But that's beside the point. But I don't know. I guess to say that comic Andrea is divided up into different characters and these kinds of things, right?
Like I said, I never read the comic, so I have to look into it one of these days when I get time.
But I think it's showing how further lengths that Tyrese is going to, I don't know, try to get the group to stick together to function and everything. Trying to get himself to function because, previously he was trying to assert himself in that he wasn't a killer. And speaking of which, did we talk about how that one guy with the hat, how he was still alive and everything? Yeah, he was still alive.
I think we touched on that briefly. I was like, I thought that guy was still alive. Yeah, Tyrese killed him. I thought Tyrese killed him.
Yeah, I thought Tyrese killed him because he was beating the crap out of him and everything.
Episode, he shows up with Gareth.
Yeah. And he especially wanted to go after Tyrese and Sasha and Carol.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that came from, but
yeah, I guess. But Tyrese doing this to Bob, it just shows the lengths that he's going for. And then Rick and Tyrese have a brief talk about everything that's happened and where they're at right now. Oh, and Abraham, oh man, he was really pushing the group to go to DC.
Oh yeah.
But he was like, we gotta go now. And I was agreeing with the others, like, you can't exactly go to DC when they're going for all of you.
Right.
So splitting up doesn't exactly help your situation. So it's a good thing that he stuck around. And I like that little tidbit at the end when he wrote on the map, "Sorry I was such an asshole. The world needs a Rick Grimes." And he gave him the route to DC and everything. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know how that's gonna pan out later, but
Well, now I'm kind of interested to see what goes on.
But and then Daryl shows up after what happened. Daryl shows up after everything. It kind of makes me wonder what would happen with that massacre if Daryl was there.
Yeah.
I mean, would he have partaken in it? I mean,
I'm sure he would have.
Probably, but
I'm sure he would have.
But then, okay, now we got the one with Beth. Yeah, we haven't seen Beth for all the episodes, but now she finally shows up, and the place that she's in is like, I'm thinking, wait. How is there a functioning hospital in a zombie apocalypse? But then it's like it only appears that way. I mean, are they in Atlanta?
I think they're in Atlanta. I think.
She's all the way back in Atlanta.
Georgia. Well, Georgia.
Somewhere in Georgia, a city in Georgia, probably Atlanta. I mean, because everything looks all bombed out and everything.
Right. That's what I was
And
assuming.
everything appears to be normal, but it's not. It really...
No, definitely not.
It really isn't. And you got all these sadistic, brutal asshole cops all over the place.
When I watched that episode, I was just kind of wondering why they had to portray them so brutally. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess, to show the length. I mean, come on, we've seen people like the governor, Shane,
to show the lengths
the
that people are
hunters.
willing to go to.
So it makes no surprise. It's no surprise that they got these cops here. They got these brutal asshole cops.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And I think we might have the first ever female villain of The Walking Dead. In the case of Officer Dawn Lerner, because she is such a bitch. I mean, not just a bitch, but
I'll refrain
crazy.
from saying anything about women being bitches, but
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about a fictional character here. I'm not talking about the actress or anything. I'm talking about the character here.
yeah.
But you gotta admit, she is, yeah. But she's also in denial. Oh,
Definitely.
Oh, she thinks, the world's gonna get back to the way it used to be.
It makes you wonder what really happened to her to
Yeah,
in that
because they make
frame
all
of
these.
mind.
They make all these references to stuff that happened before, like there was another guy in charge and he went crazy and they had to get rid of him.
Right.
So, and the actor's name, Tyler James Williams, the guy who played Chris and Everybody Hates Chris. He was Noah.
Oh Noah, yeah.
So I guess even in the zombie apocalypse, everybody still hates Chris. I know I had to throw that in there, but it's amazing to see how far Beth has gone, because she's not so weak and soft-spoken. She's actually really being more outspoken, more strong-willed. And I didn't really think much of her. I kind of thought she was going to die at some point, but really she's actually grown a lot. She's not so pathetic anymore.
Right.
It's like, again, I keep making Andrea references, but it's like the opposite of Andrea, the opposite of Andrea in the show, the TV show's version of Andrea, the opposite of that character. She's building inner strength, becoming more outspoken, and actually being quite a badass, instead of building inner strength and making really dumb decisions.
Right. Like maturing in a way.
Yeah.
She's actually getting older.
And it's actually her that's saying that the world is pretty much dead, and you gotta get used to it.
Right.
There's no help coming. And I think what Officer Dawn Lerner hates most about Beth is that she's getting all this crap from a teenage girl.
Right, yeah.
Someone who's younger than her, who's inexperienced, and who has, cut herself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't.
But she can't face that fact, and she can't control her other officers because they're all, more assholey than she is.
Right.
But then she finally manages to get out. And did they really have to get rid of all their zombies in the elevator shaft? Because I don't care how big your building is, sooner or later that's going to build up a tremendous odor, and you're going to get sick from it. Okay? I don't care if it's fiction or not. I don't care how much of a suspension of disbelief you have. They should have burned those bodies. Okay, yeah, it would cause the building to go on fire, but that's why... Okay, maybe you find some place to burn them and then dump them. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
But then, she tries to get out, but there's too many walkers, and Noah manages to get out, despite the fact he has an injured leg.
Yeah.
Or how many other body parts he has that's broken.
Well, he fell down the elevator shaft.
And then Carol shows up. So...
Well, we're really not sure what's going on there. She's wheeled in on a gurney.
Yeah.
And
Here's what I think has happened. Based on the previews that I've seen, what's happened in this episode, and what happened after the Hunters massacre, when Daryl showed up and he said into the woods, "Come on out," after Michonne asked, "Where's Carol?" Yeah. He didn't say what happened to Carol, where she is. He just said to the woods, "Come on out."
Right.
Here's what I think. I'm probably not the only one thinking this, but I'm guessing that Noah managed to get out. He met up with Daryl and Carol, and Daryl and Carol, after seeing the building, they're like, okay, we can't do this by ourselves. There's armed officers.
Right,
they're
yeah.
trained.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
I mean, we've handled the governor and everything, but that was when we had a larger group. This is different. It's just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Sorry.
That's,
But, okay, so, I don't know, and Carol pretends to get injured and get captured, while Daryl, who met up with Noah, they go back so they can get support from the rest of the group.
that sounds feasible.
That's
Yeah,
I
seen
wouldn't be
previous
surprised if
clips
that's
of
the
that.
way it happened, but, and finally, the previous episode from a few days ago, okay, I'm not surprised that it finally happened, that Eugene is not a scientist. I'm just throwing that off right there. I'm glad that it's finally revealed, because again, it was in the comics that Eugene, everything that he was saying was all bullshit.
Right.
But he is really smart, and he is a really good liar.
And he has a nice mullet.
And he has enough. Mullets are back in style.
Has a nice mullet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to grow a mullet someday. but yeah, I mean, it was a little messed up how it happened, though. Like, okay, he's the one that caused the bus to.
He's the one that he said he put glass in the gas tank to cause the bus.
Okay, if you're
Well, he
supposed
didn't want the bus to crash. He just wanted it to stop.
Okay.
And it crashed. But
Yeah, for a guy who's really smart, he does make some questionably
He doesn't
stupid
think-
decisions,
yeah,
or he
same
doesn't.
thing. Smart people
quite
with no common
think-
sense. It's-
yeah.
I know on it.
Yeah. So, and
I don't know.
and we get to see flashbacks of what Abraham was like during the early stages of the outbreak,
Yeah.
and what happened with him and his family. He basically beat up a bunch of people, I guess because they were attacking him and his family, and they got scared of what he did.
Yeah. I don't know if they were trapped in a store.
Well, they were probably just
Or
hiding out or
something.
something. And then we see him and Eugene meet for the first time. And, you know, they didn't really do that in the comics. They mention it, but they don't really show it.
Well,
And,
The Walking Dead lately has been using a lot of flashback stuff to.
well, I mean, the comics use flashbacks too, but they don't reveal details like what would happen, like what happened with Abraham and his family. Like stuff like that only got mentioned in the comics, but it wasn't exactly shown.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it finally got shown here in this case. And though the way that Eugene was running from those zombies, he was like,
Yeah. He didn't look very
Really?
He didn't look very manly.
really? I mean, you could have at least actually ran instead of like walking around. I mean, really?
He didn't look very
He was
manly.
just walking away from them.
At that point, when they showed that, you should have kind of expected that he wasn't who he said he was.
Yeah. But, and then, okay, I gotta address this. Then there's the part when Abraham and Rosita.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, okay, in the comics they do have a relationship, but I didn't think they were actually gonna do it in the case with the Walking Dead show,
Yeah.
because, see, it kind of makes me think of Andrea and Dale, because, see, Andrea and Dale in the comics, they had a romantic relationship, they had sex, and they were in love with each other and
Yeah.
everything, but in the show, that didn't happen. I mean, they were friends, but they didn't go any further than that. Oh, Dale, you got the worst kind of friend zone.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they were actually. I wasn't sure if they were going to do that in the case with. I mean, they did have Glenn and Maggie be together, of course, in the
Right.
show, like it is in the comics. But I didn't think that. I wasn't sure if they were going to do Abraham and Rosita's relationship in the show either. I was just surprised that they did. So, and of course Eugene watches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then again, when there's no more Skinamax in the hell, or let me try to turn around that classic Dawn of the Dead phrase. You know,
Right.
when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. When there's no Skinamax on planet Earth after all the power goes out due to a zombie apocalypse, we have to watch people having sex. Does that make sense? I don't know, but so yeah, and and then they come across, what was it, a town? Was it an entire
I
town?
think it was a town, or it looked like, yeah, it could probably be a town, but
But you couldn't
it
exactly
looked like, more like to me like a bunch of farms and
yeah,
a bunch of cows.
and a bunch of buildings and stuff.
But
But there are so many zombies, so many walkers.
yeah,
It's like, wow. Just wow.
and they want to keep going forward. But
Well, Abraham does.
Abraham does.
They want to go forward, but they want to figure another way around. But Abraham, he's like, no, we can't. We gotta go through. And he's trying to drag Eugene, and they're all like, hey, come on, take a minute, calm down. No, we gotta think this through. And Eugene says, I'm not a scientist. And everybody's like,
Yeah.
what? I'm not a scientist. It was all bullshit. It was all bullshit.
Yeah, that's the point where we're at now, I guess.
Yep. And then Abraham proceeds to beat up Eugene, and then he walks off and cries.
Well, Eugene did deserve it, sort of.
Yeah. But
Because Abraham didn't really have to stick with him that whole entire time, but
Eugene felt that he wouldn't have gotten so far the way he did if
right,
it weren't
he'd be
for
dead by now if it weren't for Abraham.
And Eugene did hear, even though he wasn't a scientist, he did hear that Washington, D.C. was a safe zone.
Yeah.
So, I guess you could call it a white lie?
Yeah, a little white lie.
Yeah.
The world gets by on little white lies, I guess.
Yeah! Though in this case, as Glenn would say, secrets get you killed.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
but one last thing. I was kind of surprised that the stuff happened with the hunters the way it did in the show, because I kind of thought they were going to be throughout either the entire season or just half of the season, right?
Yeah.
But they just get killed off after 3 episodes, and so does Bob.
Right.
So, but I guess they're trying to avoid something like with the whole Sophia thing, where it takes up half of the season. And while there is some good moments, it makes you like, okay, can we finally just get this over and done with already?
Right.
We know something's going to happen, but just get it over and done with. But
And we
I guess
still have, 4 episodes left to bring Morgan into the picture.
well,
Was it 4 episodes?
well, actually, 3 episodes left until this half of the season is over, and then once when Walking Dead comes back on in February. So, guess we won't know until next time.
Right.
All right. Until then, I'm Phil.
I'm Dave.
And thanks for watching.